Hey everybody, welcome to.
Don't mind me just fixing my speaker outputs here. I'm like, why can't I hear anything?
Oh, yeah, I was waiting for you to come with your Sonic news.
Yeah,
uh, well, before we get to that, as Quinn was saying, welcome to the S Rank Media Club Live, where we discuss the interesting entertainment and gaming topics of the week and live podcast our ranking of series. Quinn was asking about the Sonic news. Um, I'm a little upset with the Sonic high ups, the Sonic elites, if you will, the people putting Sonic out into the world. Um,
Sega.
yes, you can call it Sega. We'll call it Sega. Um, I've realized I'm upset that it's still over 800 days until Sonic comes out. So I'm now boycotting Sonic the movie 2. I haven't looked at any Sonic news for over a week.
I mean,
And
3.
Sonic the movie 3, yes. Sorry,
Okay.
3. So I am now on team boycott Sonic the movie 3 until Tails is removed from the movie.
Okay.
I've changed my stance. So you're gonna have to go somewhere else for your Sonic news. I
Does that include boycotting the latest video game they're coming out with as well, Sonic Frontiers? Or are you already gonna boycott that anyway?
Yet to be seen. I'll consider. Tonight we got a ranking of video game movies: Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, and the Cradle of Life, and ranking of Cage Vampire's Kiss. Before that, how has the last 2 weeks been since we were off last week?
Mine was busy. I
Yeah.
don't know about you guys. I did. I ended up going back to Michigan, so that was nice. From Texas, with the weather and everything like that. So I didn't do too much new, I don't think.
Yeah.
I watched part of a movie.
Okay.
On the way to Michigan, that one called Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that. Did you like it?
I didn't finish it.
Okay. Do you want to?
And it was just very overwhelming.
I gotcha.
Which I guess like the title explicitly says that.
That's on Netflix or?
I don't know. It was just in the Delta catalog of movies.
Right.
I don't know where you can watch it on any streaming service, but yeah.
That makes sense. You being on a plane and all.
Yeah. Right. But yeah, I think I would recommend it. It's very unique. It's very unique, but it's also kind of familiar.
Yeah.
So the plot's kind of familiar, but also I think it frames it in a very unique way, which is cool. I think I was getting a little overwhelmed watching it, which is I think partly why I stopped watching it. I also knew that I wasn't gonna be able to finish it by the time we landed, so I think that was part of it as well. But what I watched was pretty good, so I definitely would recommend watching it.
I'm just gonna throw this out there. That's still my movie of the year for 2022 so far.
Oh really?
Okay.
Oh, it's great.
All right, I'll watch it. Where's it at? Is it on? Do you know where it is, Kudrow?
I don't know. I watched it in theaters, so.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's out on any streaming service right now.
Oh, okay.
It looks like you can rent it, but it's not like streaming.
All right, I'll look at it.
And also probably watching it on the airplane isn't the best way to consume it, I'll say, because everything's so loud on the airplane, and
it's not the real
free headphones.
Oh my gosh, it wasn't the real cinema experience.
Right. So I mean, probably not the best experience for me, but yeah, I'd recommend it. I think like Kudrow was saying, he obviously loved it. So
yeah. Interesting. Maybe I'll have to watch it.
Yeah. Other than that, I got into FIFA. Haven't played FIFA since like FIFA 16 because I decided that I didn't want to put any time into it because I knew I would get sucked into Ultimate Team,
right?
Which is where you buy players and you create a team. And
FIFA RPG, as I call it.
Right. And now that I'm an adult with real money, it just seems really dangerous.
Buy a couple packs.
Right. Well, this is FIFA, and
Yeah.
I have friends. I think there's almost 8 of us.
Oh, okay.
We play pro clubs, which is essentially you create your own player,
Oh, okay.
and then you can all play together on a club, and you can play online matches together. So that's pretty fun. I've been playing the past few days, and
Like that's the mode where each person controls like a character on the team.
right,
Yeah, that seemed kind of cool.
yeah. So you get to pick your position on the team,
Mhm.
and yeah, so it's a lot of fun. I haven't really dove into any of the other um modes.
Mhm.
I like opened up Ultimate Team
Yeah,
just to kind of see what was going on, but I was like, no, I can't do this.
the only FIFA I've played in the last since like 2003 was like Ultimate Team. Like I just got the game, played
Mhm.
Ultimate Team, never touched anything else.
Yeah,
But
no. Yeah, the last FIFA I played, I think, was 16. But for me, the golden age of FIFA was like FIFA 13 through 15, where I was like middle school, high school, and I would come home, get on FIFA and just grind Ultimate Team. And I had some amazing teams, but yeah, after like I think 16, I was like, okay, I was getting into college. I'm like, I can't afford to spend that amount of time and go to college, go to school at the same time. So,
sure.
but anyway, how was your guys' weekend or weeks, I should say?
Well, I'm coming at you from a 2-day-old install of Windows 11. My last Windows was probably like it had probably been 3 years since I had reinstalled Windows. So if you know how Windows goes, after like 2, it's anyone's guess as to when it's gonna, destroy itself. Um, so Windows did that, and I reinstalled Windows 11. And the weird thing is, my computer before had auto updated to Windows 11, but this Windows 11 has some things that are different from what I had that was allegedly Windows 11. So I'm gonna say I have the real Windows 11 now. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I couldn't tell you why. Like things like my volume control and where the volume shows up were different until I reinstalled. But
Hmm.
allegedly I had Windows 11 before, so that was confusing.
Could have just been an older version, maybe.
But I usually kept it updated, so I don't know. Maybe my computer's
Oh,
been like having issues since that Windows 11 update. But either
hmm,
way, it's functioning great now.
right.
Game wise, everyone's been talking about Overwatch 2. I played a little bit of that yesterday.
Oh,
Oh, right, because you can't. So I don't. Okay, so when I got the Windows install up on Tuesday, it was late Tuesday, and I'm like, oh, let's install Overwatch because I want to try out Overwatch 2. Installed it, opened it up, and it was like there are so many people in front of you, like 300. It quickly dropped down, but then it couldn't connect a server. So,
right.
but then yesterday I got on and I had to do some other stuff. So I was on my computer doing other stuff, but while I was doing other stuff, I opened up Overwatch so it put me in the queue. So then I maybe 20 minutes later it logged me in.
Okay.
So then I played it, and I guess we'll just talk about the game first. So it's very much Overwatch, which I think Overwatch is an amazing game. Having a limit of only one tank, I think, really changes the. Essentially, you can't play that style that people would play before of just two beef walls, just like really stomping out any sort of offensive you could have, because you ran into that a lot in Overwatch 1 before, like when I stopped playing 3+ years ago, where you'd get these dual beef wall tanks that would just make to grind the game pace down. So it does feel a bit like maybe because they switched it from 6 to 5, and you can only have one tank on the team. Um, so to me, it seems like a good idea. Like it seems that you don't run into those like just beef walls of tank, and I think that's a good thing for Overwatch. Now, the other thing is, I think Overwatch is a fun game, and I haven't played it in like 3 years, so it was fun. Like it. Oh, if I think if I just so I don't know if it's just that. but I'm definitely gonna play some more of it. I have hundreds of hours in Overwatch 1. But I don't, and the thing is, I guess the complaints about the game that it's like an updated Overwatch 1, I would say, yeah, that's the point. I guess I don't understand people's frustration about free games. It's like it, I, I don't know. What do you guys think about the all the stuff around the Overwatch?
Well, first of all, I meant to say that I was trying to play it, but I couldn't play
Couldn't get
it.
in. Yeah,
I
yeah.
actually have it loaded up right now in the background as we're streaming because I
Dude,
didn't want to have to wait
right.
another, I don't know,
Yeah,
however
yeah.
long.
I
I
gotcha.
had thrown it up. I don't even know how long ago, like
Yeah,
2 hours ago, just to see if I could get in.
yeah,
Anyways, in terms of the free to play, I understand it. I think the model that you're moving towards mirrors, all these other popular types of games,
yeah.
to some extent. Even like Call of Duty, which releases every year, they still kind of go to that more
Right.
free to play model where it's continuous updates. You get DLC,
Yeah.
and I think,
You can buy
I
gun
mean,
skins
yeah,
and
it just,
stuff, and yeah.
well, yeah,
I
it's just evolving that way, I
it's
think.
weird, like it's like there's this culture in gaming where gamers just decide who they're mad at, and then they group up and, like, I don't know, throw a bunch of hate towards whatever. And it's usually things that are not different from everything else that's going on. I don't completely understand the Overwatch hate. Um, I don't really understand it at all. But there's like a lot of people like, oh, game's dead on arrival. I don't know why people are so mad about Overwatch 2. I, I like, because some of the complaints were like, oh, well, you have to unlock characters. If you've ever played the game before, you don't have to unlock characters. You have all of them. So it's
Right.
literally only people who've never played the game before. And I guess, like, if you've never played Overwatch, then you have to play 100 matches to unlock every character. Sure, why
Right.
not? I don't. Yeah, I don't know. It's also free.
Right. I think the one major concern is the phone number issue,
Oh, okay,
which I've
right,
actually
right.
seen a lot of talk
Yeah,
about
you
that
mentioned
because
that, right?
for people that don't have a non-prepaid phone,
Mhm.
they can't play.
I gotcha.
I guess Blizzard announced if you already had an account, then you don't
Yeah.
have to link your phone
So,
number, which should
and
help. But yeah,
and that's like linking your phone number to your Blizzard account.
right. Your
Gotcha.
battle.net account. Yeah.
Gotcha. Is that and is that's not required on any of their other games? I take it.
I don't know about that, but I doubt it
I gotcha.
because it seems like everything that I've read is like
Yeah.
we're implementing it because we want to get rid of cheaters and bad players essentially, right? So they
So
can't just create a new
yeah,
account.
I do like agree with that idea, because in competitive games you have experiences with the terrible players, and like if you play competitive league, if you play in clash tournaments, you have to have a phone number to play in clash tournaments. Now maybe you can argue like you should limit it to certain parts of Overwatch and not others, which is fine. But I don't. Yeah, I guess I get the frustration, but also as a person who wants to have a quality competitive experience, I'm not upset about it in that aspect. So yeah, I guess that one's a valid concern, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I
So
I don't know. I think there's some kind of bad things about it, but I think
sure.
they're pretty minimal
Yeah.
besides the launching issues, which I think
Didn't
some of
they
that's
get
out of their
DDoS
control. They
attacks?
got they got DDoS attacked
Oh
twice
my
on Tuesday.
gosh.
Um, but I think in terms of I think there was still some issues with server stuff on their end that they didn't have ironed
Yeah.
out, I think, before they launched. But
Yeah.
I think it's
I
hard to tell until we get further down the line and they actually tell us what happened, I guess.
Yeah, I guess the thing that really, like, for me, it's just like so many of these games come out and it's like people just think game development is free. Like it's a free game and they're like, why do I have to progress to unlock things? Why is everything not just free? And it's just like games are very expensive to produce. And maybe there are companies out there that have historically, price gouged on things or done things that are terrible to players. But on the other hand, like there has to be a cost for the game development too. So I can understand a free game having a profit method, I guess. And on top of that, this is like the profit method for most of the other games of this. Like, this is how all the MOBAs do it. I guess Dota has all the characters unlocked, but other MOBAs, like, I just don't see anything weird about it. But, anyways, Kudra, you got some thoughts over there?
No, not particularly. I have a remarkable level of apathy toward Overwatch. I guess my one question was like, because you were talking about the Dotas, like, did League of Legends, like, do you have to play to unlock characters in that, or do you just have
a
them?
ton? I mean, like, you have to play a ton to unlock characters, but in League of Legends, like, honestly, if you're just starting and you're trying to play like that many characters, you're doing it wrong. Like, it's just not like, and they have free rotation. So every like week or 2 weeks, there's like 8 characters that are free. So you can try out all kinds of characters. I played League of Legends and I never was like, oh, I can't buy this hero I need, because I bought all the pool I played with. And then as I gained more, I would already have enough credits. Like, it's just not.
I think it's so different because the roster is so much larger too.
Right. And
there's how many?
Yeah, and also in Overwatch, they're not asking you to play nearly that long to unlock the characters. It's like 100 games, which makes sense. Like, if you, I don't see anything wrong with it. And I mean, if you don't like it, you can show them you don't like it by not playing it. Or you can. I think you can buy them too. You can buy the pass or whatever and unlock them. Some edition of the game,
buy like the battle pass, or you can. Yeah, there's like a founders edition.
And I think what they'll say is, oh, if you bought Overwatch 1, you basically you bought all the characters and I have in Overwatch 2. So I think it's fair. Like, it'd be messed. I think you'd have an argument if they went to Overwatch 2 and they're like, okay, everyone had Overwatch 1. You can't play Overwatch 1 anymore. The game's gone, but you don't get the Overwatch 2 characters. Then you'd have more of a valid complaint, but it's people who've never played the game before. So, I guess probably enough about Overwatch. Hopefully I'll play some this week. Maybe Quinn, we can party up, play some Overwatch.
Yeah, Overwatch and Deep Rock Galactic.
The only other thing I played was Breath Edge, which is like survival space game, and it's very like what's the word? It's like it's making fun of corporations and it's making fun of like the corporate world kind of. And you have a breath meter and you fly out of your ship and you're like gathering resources and building things. I probably put about like, I don't know, 6 or 7 hours into it. It's pretty cool. It's a fun, like, little survival game. Maybe I'll have more to say when I get further into it, but definitely interesting if you're into those kind of crafting survival games. Yeah, Kudra, anything for you?
Let me think. let me see here. I think it was a week or 2 ago. I did go out and see The Woman King in theaters.
Was that good?
It was all right. I didn't think it was that bad.
What's like the idea of that? I've seen like a picture of it, but what is it about?
So effectively it kind of deals with this, oh God. I forget what the name of the kingdom is, but basically it's about this kingdom in Africa that's kind of like, okay. I'm terrible about being put on the spot and explaining things, as you've noticed.
All right, you don't have to tell me about it if you don't want to. I guess keep it to yourself.
Oh no, I just need a moment to gather my thoughts. So, basically, this woman, there's this kingdom called what is it?
Dahomey.
Thank you, Dahomey. Jesus. Yeah. So, where the king has this private guard. Again, I forget what they're called, and they're all comprised of women. And so what ends up happening is the main character that you end up following, like, her dad is like trying to sell her off to this to, like, a wealthy husband to make money. But she's very defiant in this manner, so basically ends up giving her to the king to be one of his elite guards, effectively. And so then she ends up getting trained, and a lot of the movie effectively deals with these like other African other group in Africa that are actually like purposely collecting people to be sold as slaves to Europeans. So a lot of the movie's conflict just kind of stems from the Dahomey's elite guards dealing with just kind of dealing with all that, battling against it, trying to establish a more ethical way to survive as a kingdom
Okay.
that isn't dependent on the slave trade. There's also a lot of interpersonal drama in that, but that delves into already more heavy spoiler territory than I've gotten into already.
Sure.
So I'll avoid talking about that.
Gotcha. What's your what was Kudrow's ranking systems? It was like, it was okay. It's pretty good. Where does it fit in the Kudrow ranking system?
I mean, I guess it. I mean, it was okay.
It was okay. All right. It was okay.
The movie felt a little too long to me, personally.
Okay.
But I don't. But I mean, it was. But it wasn't bad, like by any stretch of the imagination.
Speaking of too long, our video game movie this week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You guys got any other news topics?
No, I was just gonna ask Kudrow, would you recommend going to see it, the movie?
But I mean, I think it's good enough to see in theaters. I don't.
Okay.
What if I haven't gone to the
I'll
theater in a good 4 to 5 years?
Yeah, I know you're kind of on the anti-theater train, Colton.
I'm not necessarily anti-theater. I don't know. I just don't.
He's pro home sound
Sometimes I'll see, like, I'll be like, I should go see this movie. This looks good. And then I'll like forget about it. It'll be 2 months later. I'll be like, oh, I never went and saw that movie. And then it'll come out like 3 months later where I can stream it and then I'll watch it. That's the typical like cycle for me.
Fair. I mean, I enjoy the movie. I enjoy the theater experience. So I frequently go, maybe like once or twice a month to go catch a flick. But
yeah, the popcorn and soda is nice, but it's bad for me. So it's like it's like signing myself up for that.
Yeah, fair.
Right.
Definitely feel like you got to go to the gym after going to a theater movie. Yeah, other than that though, I can't really say I've been up to too much, to be honest with you.
All right. Well, do we want to talk about the Mario trailer now?
That'll be a movie I
do
go
that
see in theaters
between-
based on the.
How about we do that in between our
Yeah,
segments?
good idea. Let's do it, Quinn. Are we ready to do this video game movie then?
Yes. Let's
look at that fancy silver suit. That amphibious suit.
It's terrible.
Oh, I can already tell where you two are leaning in your rankings.
Oh shit!
All right. Let me know when you guys are ready, and we can get this going.
All right, I think I'm ready.
All right. Welcome back to the ranking of video game movies, the S Rank Media Club. I'm here with Kudrow and Colton.
Hello.
And we'll be ranking Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, the second one from 2003, The Cradle of Life. And there's lots of similarities between the first and the second one, in my opinion. But for a quick little kind of opening, Lara Croft is played by Angelina Jolie. And then the love interest is played by Gerard Butler.
Terry Sheridan.
Yes. I thought that was kind of cool. But anyway.
Like the name?
Adventure Lara Croft. No, the actor.
No.
Gerard Butler.
Big Gerard Butler fan, Kudrow.
Yeah,
I
he's a
guess
cool guy.
I guess that's fair. I guess that's fair.
What his other favorite Gerard Butler movies are 27 Dresses and P.S. I Love You. Is
Right.
he in
What?
20? Hold on, I gotta confirm if Gerard Butler's in.
No, he's in.
It,
I don't know if it's 27 Dresses. It's
He's not in 27 Dresses. That's a lie. I don't know why I thought that.
No, what's I know the rom com though.
P.S. I
Quinn's
Love You.
talking about The Ugly Truth. Is
I
that
don't
All
it?
right,
remember what it's called.
we'll come back to Gerard
And
Butler
we need to
later.
get to Tomb Raider. We need to get to Tomb Raider here. Adventurer Lara Croft goes on a quest to save the mythical Pandora's box before an evil scientist finds it and recruits a former Marine turned mercenary to assist her. So that's kind of the premise. Some more supernatural, mythical kind of ideas and artifacts going on in this movie as well. Let's get into the plot. The film begins on Santorini Island in Greece during a wedding, and it's interrupted by kind of an earthquake or a landslide where rocks fall into the ocean. Then we get a cool title sequence made out of the falling rocks. And then this earthquake, I'm assuming it doesn't really make it clear, but I'm assuming it unearths this underwater temple or this temple that was lost.
That's what I'm assuming too.
Which is
because I agree.
Alexander the Great.
Not clear.
Yeah. Right. It's called the Luna Temple, and Alexander the Great built it to house his most prized treasures away from his the library in Alexandria, right? I think they say that. And among those treasures is a glowing orb with a pattern resembling a code etched into it. And so, kind of the beginning of the movie, after the earthquake, we get this Tomb Raider-esque. Lara Croft comes in, skimpy outfit on her jet ski, and does like some, I don't know, some professional tricks on her jet ski.
Mhm.
And yeah,
She does a barrel roll.
so you get the views, and then yeah. Turns out there's a lot of Tomb Raiders also hunting for this temple, or they're not sure what they're looking for, I guess. And Lara Croft comes in. She's like, I know what we're looking for. This is what we're looking for because of, I don't know, she found a map or something like that. And she's working with these other treasure hunters. And so then they end up figuring out that the currents of the ocean or the sea changed. And so all of these treasure hunters are looking in the wrong spot. So Lara Croft's like, I know the exact spot. So they go there, they dive down, and they end up finding the temple. And so they get in there and they see all this gold. So then the two like treasure hunters obviously go for the gold. Lara Croft is interested in that orb that I mentioned. And so she goes up to try and get it. She pulls out like a welding rig to like unstuck it or unstick it from whatever it was being held by. And as that happens, there's these mercenaries that kind of surface and nobody notices them, but they have spear guns. And then there's like a battle that or not a battle, more of like a chase that ensues. They kill the two treasure hunters. And then obviously Lara Croft doesn't get the orb, or there's also a medallion that was she was trying to get as well, which will come later down the road. She doesn't end up getting either of those, but she escapes. And some of the mercenaries die, I believe, but the mercenaries end up getting the orb and the medallion. So that's kind of the opening scene, sets the stage for, what we're looking at here. And us as the audience, we really don't have any idea of what's going on at this point.
Yeah, just
so then the next
a lot of people just shooting. And...
Right. So then we get this scene where it introduces the villain. He's this, I don't know, bio agent, bioweapon guy who like has created all these bioweapons, and he's on the airplane explaining to all his clients that he's found this new bioweapon and you need to pay him so you can have it, essentially. So he's trying to sell this bioweapon that he doesn't have yet. And it turns out that one of the buyers sold him out to the MI6, and he makes a big spectacle about killing him, and all the evil. You can't fool me. Like I know what you're doing, type of thing. And so that introduces MI. Kind of moves into the next portion. They show up at Lara Croft's door, because Lara Croft doesn't really have. I keep saying Laura. Lara Croft doesn't have any idea of who the mercenaries were and where the orb is now. So MI6 obviously shows up, and they're like, we know where the orb is. We need you to do it. So it's had by these I think Shaling, I want to say.
Yeah, they're sorry, I have it written down here.
They're like
called
mercenaries or
the Shaling.
treasure hunt, Shaling, yeah, black market, essentially black market smugglers, which are like impossible to find apparently. And so in order to find them, she asks MI6 to release this mercenary who she obviously has a past with. And at first it's like, no way, like we would never do that. Obviously, they let her do it. So we go to, I believe, my guess is Siberia or something like that. Some high security prison in the cold blizzard area. I don't know, mountains. And they exchange words, and she promises him that, MI6 will provide money and freedom if he helps her. And also kind of on the back burner, we get some kind of more story of the Shaling, and they're transporting the orb around. And they didn't want to give it to Rice, who is the villain. They didn't want to give it to him right away because they weren't sure how much it was worth. They end up finding that, if all these people want it, then maybe they could sell it for more than what Rice was going to give it to them for. So that's kind of happening in the background. Anyway, so they team up, and Terry is like, I know where they're at. They're in China. Like we can't go into China without being seen by the Shaling. And Lara Croft's like, oh, don't worry about it. Like she's very like not mystical, but like
just knows everything.
Yeah, like secretive, and like has everything set up, ready to go, while the audience is like, how the fuck did you like know that you were gonna land here?
Yeah,
and you're
speaks
gonna
every language, like right. Knows somebody everywhere she lands. It's right. her like it's amazing how many people she knows and how many languages she speaks.
Right. So they take some like weird flying pod in, and then they eject right when it smashes into a mountain, so the Shaling won't suspect that they're in the country, I guess.
Oh, jeez.
And then they pick up some weapons and motorcycles, and then they take the motorcycles, and we get this weird like flirty motorcycle scene where they're like trying to outdo each other on BMX bikes.
Did that not feel like? Did you feel like you were watching like a teenage Disney Channel drama?
Right.
Like I just,
yeah.
Like it just, like motocrossed, wasn't that like the?
Oh, that sounds about right. Yeah. They're like, she's like doing a wheelie, and he's like, oh, like I'll do like a cool jump, and I'll land right in front of you. Anyway, so then they ride their BMX bikes up to this mountain, and then they're like, okay, now we need to go by foot. So they're just walking, and then they get surrounded by the Shaling, and then comes to find out, Terry's like, well, the only way to find them is to get captured by them. So they get captured, and then the leader, I forget his name, doesn't really matter, because he ends up dying anyway, so who cares?
Spoilers.
Right. Like wants to talk to Lara Croft about selling it to her, I don't know,
some other villain party,
right? I don't know, like figuring out what he's gonna do with this orb, essentially. And then he's showing off his terracotta soldiers, and then Lara Croft's like, well, I need the orb. So then they have a big battle, and he destroys all the terracotta soldiers. I'm like, this guy's destroying, I don't even know how much money right here, just destroying terracotta soldiers. Turns out he doesn't have the orb. instead of killing him, she asks for information about the orb. He tells her the orb will be in Shanghai at some, I don't know, pagoda for a drop off. So then they're like leaving, but then he shoots at her, and then they escape. So and Terry like fights his way out of 3 or 4 different, I don't know, bodyguards. And then there's actually kind of a pretty cool scene where they like slide down the rope upside down, and they're like shooting people while they're sliding down the ropes. But yeah, another chase scene. Then we
know
cut to
Colton loves
Shanghai,
those.
right? Then we cut to Shanghai, and they're there for the drop off. Obviously, Rice, the villain, instead of meeting there, I don't know, on foot, comes in on a helicopter, which didn't make sense to me that they would just allow a giant ass helicopter just to descend into this residential dense area. Anyway, so Terry and Lara are trying to figure out a way to hijack the orb. There's a big fight sequence. Rice gets the orb and kills the guy that gives it to him. But then Laura like does a crazy pole vault move to jump onto the helicopter. I don't know what they're called, guardrails or the under rails of the
Right.
helicopter.
Yeah.
And then she puts a tracker on the box. And this leads to what I think is the stupidest part of the movie, where she pulls up the tracker right after, and then she's like, "Oh yeah, they're in Hong Kong."
Yeah.
And I was like, "What?"
Also, that same scene where she falls into that truck, and the guys just drive away and leave her there.
Right.
Well, I don't understand. Then they yeah, because that right after that they're like, yeah, she escaped or something. She was right there, and you just left.
Right.
Anyways,
yeah, the tracking thing was the stupidest thing in my opinion. It was like, oh, she put a tracker on it, and then she pulls it up on her phone, and then she's like, oh yeah, it's in Hong Kong now. And it's like, well, I'm pretty sure you can't just teleport in a helicopter from Shanghai to Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Like, there's no information on the box that's going to tell you where they're going.
Mhm.
Anyway, they obviously have the tracker, so then they follow to Shanghai, or sorry, Hong Kong. They can't find it. Turns out it's underground. They figure that out. It's in like a mall, like a, I don't know, shopping mall, I guess you call it.
Mhm.
And then they had like been working out of a mall stall, I guess. I don't
Right.
know, a shop.
Yeah.
To try and decode the orb.
Mhm.
And so it's just so happens that Rice is leaving as they're going in. No planning at all. So they go in, and then they kind of set the alarms off, I think, to get everybody out. So then Laura can go and take more pictures of the orb.
Right.
So that I'm forgetting his name, Hillary and
Hillary and Bryce.
Bryce, yeah,
Yep.
can
Bryce is the
decode
tech guy.
the orb. And that's where the medallion comes to play, which I forgot to mention Laura took from the Shaling guy.
Mhm.
And it turns out that the medallion is the key to the map, essentially. And apparently the map is vocal, or like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like an audio
Doesn't really
map.
make sense to me.
Yeah.
An audio map. I don't know. Still doesn't make sense to me how that was used.
Real weird.
Right. But yeah, so then she's trying to take pictures, but then Rice and his henchmen come in, and there's a whole big battle. But Terry could have shot Rice and killed him, but didn't. But then they somehow escape with the orb and the medallion. And Terry has a whole escape plan set up. So they go up top to a construction building, and then they're like, okay, we're gonna jump off the building in our wingsuits, and we're gonna go, escape.
Land in this exact boat out in the water. That's moving.
Right. So they escape, and yeah, they land on the boat, and then there's this weird like intimate like seduction scene where Laura like starts like seducing Terry, and then she handcuffs him because she doesn't want to have to kill him or something like that, because she knows that he's gonna like be greedy, or I don't know,
Can't trust him.
be mercenary-ish. I don't know.
Had to lock him back up.
Right. And then Lara leaves, and then she just comes in the morning onto some family's boat and was like, "Can I steal your TV?" And they're just like very gracious. They're like, "Oh yeah, of course. Like, go for it." And they're watching SpongeBob. And then it just so happens that the little girl is chewing gum also for breakfast. So she uses the gum from the kid to set up her camera on top of the TV. So then she can take the orb and show it to Brady and or sorry, not Brady, Bryce and Hillary.
Yeah.
Right. Um, but I think it just so happens that Rice had picked up her head or her earpiece back in the lab, and he had the idea, oh, I'll just go to Lara's estate and hold them hostage and wait for Lara to call in. So Lara, I don't remember what exactly happens, but she picks up the orb and it starts like showing her images of where she needs to go, which she somehow surmises is in Africa in this specific spot near Mount Kilimanjaro. So then she relays the message to Bryce and Hillary and is like, I need to go to Kilimanjaro and, talk to Kosa, who's like a local guy that she's has relationship with or has worked with before. So come to find out, Rice is there with Bryce and Hillary, and then they're obviously going to go to Africa as well. So this is where it kind of picks up with like the final scene of the movie. Lara parachutes into a moving Jeep, which Kosa is driving, and they end up going to the exact right spot and talking to these indigenous people. And at first they're like, no, like we won't help you find the Cradle of Life. But then Lara explains that the evil man's going to come and try and steal Pandora's box and open it up. So they're like, okay, but we're going to come with you. So then they start their trek, and then all of a sudden a helicopter comes down and just men with guns just come and kill all the indigenous people. And then Lara is taken into custody with Kosa. And then Rice makes them, follow the rest of the path, essentially. And I think there's nothing between where they see the Shadow Warriors, right? Between when they get caught.
Yeah, right. Because that basically from then they're going through that weird magic forest
Wasteland,
thing. Yeah, whatever that is.
Yeah. Which, to be fair, I thought the Shadow Warriors were actually kind of cool. Like, I thought that was like a cool idea.
They just prepped you with the rest of the movie so that part could look cool. That's why.
Right. Yeah. So they're walking through it, and then these Shadow Warriors come out and they start killing the armed guards. Apparently, we learned that if you move, they'll come for you, essentially. So it was kind of cool because they grab you and then they kind of drag you into the shadow, sort of thing, and kill you, obviously. So then kind of everybody's stuck there and like doesn't know what to do. And then Lara sees this like, I don't know, weird like hill. Looked like an anthill to me. I don't know. Over in the clearing area. And she's like, obviously I have to put the orb in there. So she puts the orb in there and it opens up the ground to the Cradle of Life. Rice and Lara are kind of, I don't know, they start kind of scuffling a little bit down there. And then they see the Pandora's box, which is in a vat or like a bowl of acid, black acid. Apparently it's Pandora's tears because when she opened the box for the first time, she started crying tears of black acid. So Laura's trying to get away from Rice while Rice is trying to make Lara get the box so she doesn't, make a mistake and die. And I kind of forget what happens.
She like gave him
this like fist fight, right?
She gave him the old hezzy hay and then threw him into the black acid.
Right.
And then
he's in the black acid.
Yeah. And then Gerard Butler, Terry Sheridan shows up. And then Terry Sheridan's like, hey, this is ours, right? We get this. And then she's like, no, we have to leave it. Actually, doesn't he like punch her or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. He like,
yeah. So he like the way she kills him is he punches her and then she lands on a gun without him noticing. and then she stands up, and she's like,
Right.
no, like we can't take it. And then right before
Right.
Terry's about to shoot her,
Yeah.
there's a gunshot, and the audience is like, oh no, who shot who? And obviously Terry dies.
Right.
Excuse me. But yeah, from I think it's IMDb, it says, despite her love for him, this results in Lara being forced to fatally shoot him in self-defense just after Terry draws his own gun, preparing to shoot Lara. And then Lara almost opens the box. She essentially did open the box, like there's light coming out of the box.
Mhm.
But then she's like, nah, like I just killed Terry. Why would I open the box?
Right.
Yeah, that scene made no sense to me.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're like trying to make her seem like human, or I don't know, but
Uh,
to me that didn't make sense. So
a
then she
lot of
throws the box
things.
back in the acid.
Yeah.
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 And
Oh
then
man.
yeah. And then the end of the movie is kind of they're back with the indigenous people, and they're like, and she's like, some things aren't meant to be fine to the leader. And then I think Hillary and Bryce were like being prepped to get married or something like that, and they didn't realize, and then they book it out of there, and yeah, that's kind of the end. They drive off into the sunset.
Yeah. This movie was a slog.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Yeah, it was a two-parter for me, for
oh
sure.
my gosh, yeah, I watched it over 2 days. I started watching it one day and I was like, I'm gonna fall asleep. I gotta stop. Um
Mm-hmm.
wow, nothing has any reasoning whatsoever. Lara Croft just knows everything all the time for just because. Like you were saying, Quinn, like she sees the images out of that thing and just knows exactly where to go.
Right.
Like, okay. Oh, oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
To me, it was essentially a carbon copy of the first
Really?
movie.
I thought
Yeah.
this was significantly worse than the first one.
I
This
thought
one,
I would say
lengthwise it was bad.
significantly different.
oh man, this made that other one look good. Uncharted. This made Uncharted look good.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Where
Maybe I
Colton's
was
going with
seeing it
his
for
ranking.
its. Yeah. Well, maybe I was seeing it for the tropes that it like, because it just had all the same tropes as the first one. So
Yeah. No,
maybe that was like
I guess
focused on that, I guess.
I guess you're not wrong about that. I feel like as like a movie watch, like the first one was way more bearable than this one for me. Like this one just everything just seems so stupid. It's like
Yeah.
why the hell? Like it's like everywhere she goes, she can speak the language and she just knows somebody there. And like what these wingsuits that we're gonna go fly onto this boat. Oh my god. The beginning, I had written down the notes, watch me flip this jet ski and look at my silver onesie. Her like silver wetsuit. Oh man. I mean, I get it. It was intentional. They're like, what kind of hot water clothing can we put on Lara Croft? And that's where they got. So okay.
I feel like the biggest problem with this movie, I know we're talking about the showing off Lara Croft and all of her figure, but I feel like this movie did it a lot less than the last movie.
She was wearing her hot pants the whole movie, Cujo. They're just like, what? How can we dress Lara Croft in all these different ways? But
Yeah.
yeah, you're probably
Towel
right.
scene too. The very beginning to me was like, oh, here we go again. She's in her Speedo and I don't know, just a
Um,
bra, and she's in the water. Like, I don't know. And then, yeah, yeah,
I
it didn't
don't
want to make
have
me watch.
yeah, I don't have a lot of good things to say about this movie. Um, I do have bad things to say about this movie. The underwater cruisers they were using. Did you say they had windshields on those? They had little windshields like that didn't even come up to where their face was.
Oh, I missed that.
Oh, speaking of I don't know, the underwater stuff, the
Yeah.
shark scene where she's like,
Oh,
oh, I'll
yeah.
cut myself
She-
and then I'll ride the shark up to the top.
right. And she also punches the shark.
Right.
Yep.
That might have been the best part of the movie, actually. Like, if we're actually retroactively thinking about it, like maybe where she punched the shark was the most interesting thing.
Yeah, I don't know. To me,
It,
like, I don't really want to talk about the movie anymore just because
Yeah.
going through all of that, it was a lot.
Is her punching a shark a meme somewhere?
Maybe.
I mean,
No,
Could be.
although to be fair, I think it does say like if you ever get attacked by a shark, I think one of the recommendations for it is like either punch it in the nose or attack its eye.
I gotcha. I
So,
just like
well,
the nature of it was just like,
it's still absurd.
yeah, and before that, inside that thing where she finds the orb, she shoots at a stone column and the stone column falls down. So that's it's pretty powerful handgun. Um,
Well, I guess in the defense, it didn't seem like the temple was in that good a condition when they entered it.
yeah,
Right.
but
An
yeah,
underwater temple that had survived without caving in for how long? Under how much water
look,
pressure?
just a couple gunshots though will take that column down. Our villain guy says it's not nice to fool Mother Nature, but it's what I've been doing for a long time now. No idea what the fuck that's about. Um,
Well, the whole thing is that the dude is isn't the dude's like a biologist. I think like it made mention like the poison that dude would like drank on the plane was like some like hyper advanced
oh,
weaponized Ebola.
I dude, I feel like this movie does such a terrible job of explaining anything, and it's just like these villainous characters that are just even like Lara's relationship with Terry. Like never like a word is not actually explained about what the hell the deal is. There's just nothing. I feel like nothing's ever like explained. The setups, there's no setup at all for anything. It's just this guy's a villain. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, Dr. Rice, like he is definitely your generic doomsday villain. I can't really say there's anything interesting about him other
Uh,
than actually the only thing interesting about him was just that I completely forgot this actor was in this movie. The dude who played oh god, what was his character's name? The king beyond the wall in Game of Thrones.
oh.
Hmm.
Oh, that's where I recognized him from. Good eye. I didn't.
Mance Raider.
Yeah,
That's his
yeah.
name.
I saw his face. I'm like, where do I know that guy from? Okay.
Yeah, I think to not to be fair, but to kind of explain it away, it is an action movie. So I think they spent a lot of time, going for the cool action sequences rather than delving into the deeper backstories of,
Of anything.
the character relationships of,
Yeah.
you know,
I uh
yeah,
Yeah, but even with that though, it's like the movie's name is Tomb Raider. There was a remarkable lack of tomb raiding in this movie.
yeah.
Well, it's only in the beginning when in the Luna Temple. It's like other than that though, it's like tomb raiding need not apply.
right. They had already hit. Like, there was no steps to get to the final, no, like, tomb raiding steps. It was, "Oh, they just so happened to find the Luna Temple. This is where the treasure hunt ends," right? There's no more treasure hunt besides mapping it out, which you don't need to go anywhere else. You just needed
Right.
the orb and then the medallion, and then you could make it to wherever you needed to go.
Um Additionally, the accuracy of anyone in this movie shooting at like nearly point blank range, um, just missing.
I
Stormtroopers.
Yeah,
Yeah, about
yeah,
to say I feel like
big time.
that's a general trope.
Did you notice the slow motion parts where it would like go into this weird slow motion like for 5 seconds? There must have been 4 or 5 of them. Those were awful. There
I
was
didn't
like
notice.
there was like a couple spots where it would just go into this weird slow motion. Um, yeah,
I
so
don't remember.
I kind of feel like this movie, like one, I feel like it's still like the first one, like trying to mimic like Indiana Jones stuff, kind of like they want it to, but they also, I feel like they almost want it to be like a James Bond kind of movie, and like it's a bad one at that. It's a bad one of those. Um, but yeah,
Yeah,
I hate this movie,
it's
and
pretty
no one
bad.
should watch it. Um,
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say I think my final like words are it's just another movie to make Lara Croft look like a badass,
yeah.
sexy,
Right.
person.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so many scenes where that's the case for me.
Mm-hmm.
But like when MI6 came, she's like riding a horse, shooting targets, moving targets.
Right.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
Or the sliding down the rope, which I thought was kind of cool, but like stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I
Not
get
worth it to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Hmm.
Kudra, any overarching final thought?
I mean, not really. Movie's pretty generic. There's a distinct lack of tomb rating. I mean, I was able to sit through I sat through the movie and watched it in one sitting. Like, I didn't think it was maybe that egregiously bad, but
Yeah.
this movie is definitely nothing. This movie is definitely nothing spectacular. It's very forgettable.
Do you want to be the first one to rank it then?
Oh, sure, why not? I mean, I don't know. I'm torn between a D and an E. I might.
I'm torn between E and F.
I feel like this movie is worse than the first one, which I'll give it an E. If the villain was even a little bit more interesting, or even like if Terry had been a little bit more interesting,
Yeah,
I
if
might.
if Gerard Butler was Daniel Craig, would this have been a better movie?
I mean, you know what? I feel like Gerard Butler, like, Daniel Craig got an opportunity to be like half naked on screen. There was no Gerard Butler half naked, so that right there, E.
Well, that's false, because he was doing upside down push-ups or pull-ups. I don't know what you want to call them in the what's it called, the prison,
Yeah, but I
right?
think he still had his shirt on though, didn't he?
No,
I don't
his shirt was off.
Bad lighting then. Not good enough to show off the form.
Maybe I should make like the thumbnail for these, like for the last one, I'll just make it a picture of Daniel Craig like shirtless in the shower, and then this one.
Yeah,
oh,
I'll go with E. I feel like this movie is worse than the first one. You can pass on it.
yeah, I'm very much that it's worse than the first one as well. I'm just debating how bad it is. Like it really upsets me how much there is like no setup to anything. And I want to give it an F. Like I'm trying to think if it has anything redeeming in it. And I don't think it does. I think this movie's it's an F. I'm gonna say it. I give Tomb Raider Cradle of Life an F.
Wow.
I can't.
Would you still rate it an F if you watched this one before the first one?
That's a good question. I think so. Like I just think I don't know why this one, the first one I feel like had a better plot line to it in a way. I'm not saying it was good, but I feel like this one had just
Would you say it had more tomb ratings?
yeah. Give it some bonus points for having Tomb rating. Oh man.
Yeah, I think I have to go with E as well.
Gotcha.
Terrible movie.
All right, well, let's go to
Unless you want to watch Angelina Jolie show off
There you
herself.
go. Yeah.
But I feel like the first one is even better for that. So
Right.
Depends. I mean, if you're into the bathing suits and the silver onesies, this is your
there was a lot of vehicle maneuvering, right?
whoops. Vehicle maneuvering.
Yeah, there was the horses,
Oh,
horse,
right.
there was the
Yeah.
jet ski, there was the
Yeah.
BMX bikes,
She rides
like,
motorcycles, yeah,
right.
and shoots guns off her horse.
I mean, we did get sled dogs in the first one, so I don't know how high that ranks, but anyway.
All right. So I will concede that this can go. You guys both have this as an E. I have it in an F. I will concede this to the E tier above Mortal Kombat Annihilation. I would really.
I think it's better than Final Fantasy.
I also think it's better than Final Fantasy. Kudro, do you have any strong argument to this going above Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within?
Colton, you don't have a shred of integrity in your body, do you?
That's not a very strong argument, so I guess this goes
No.
above.
To be
Colton,
fair, he
you
did rank
cannot
them
make
both
an
F.
argument that this movie is better than Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within. In no world is this movie better than Spirits Within.
You think Final Fantasy Spirits Within is better than this movie?
Yes, that is what I just said. So yes.
Can you tell me why that you think, like, what is it? What makes Final Fantasy Spirits Within a better movie than Tomb Raider: Cradle of Life?
I'm gonna have to spend the rest of the entirety of the time we do this show defending my ranking of Spirits Within, aren't I?
Or you could change it to an F like a normal person.
Let me see here. If I recall the rankings correctly, I don't even think Quinn ranked it an F. It was only you.
Yeah, I ranked it a D.
What'd you rank Tomb Raider?
An E.
Oh, so do you want Final Fantasy above Tomb Raider?
I think we have to put Final Fantasy above Tomb Raider to
All
stay
right.
true to our ranking system.
All right. Quinn wants to keep his D rating of Final Fantasy.
We can we should designate a segment week where we
to go back.
we look at old rankings.
All right. So Tomb Raider right now is below Final Fantasy. I don't like either of them. It's fine. They can hang out there down in the E tier.
A miscarriage of justice if I've ever seen one.
All right. Tomb Raider: The Cradle of Life is in the E tier.
I'm gonna change my ranking to Spirits Within to S just to spite you.
Wow. That's the council does not approve of whatever it is you're doing. Yeah, so the Mario trailer.
Well, do we want to say what we're gonna do next?
Oh yeah,
video game movie.
Kudra, what video game movie are we doing next week?
Well, I mean, Double Dragon's on Amazon Prime, so watch that.
Double Dragon.
Double Dragon, it is.
I can only
never heard of it.
You never heard of the game Double Dragon?
No, I've never heard of the game Double Dragon.
It's like it's a beat 'em up from like the
I think it was Sega Genesis or the original Nintendo system.
Yeah, say wasn't there? Was there a Double Dragon on the NES? There might have been.
Yeah, I think it was like one of the very first like beat 'em up games. The whole thing with that. So hashtag spoiler alert, but it's been like 30 years. So
yeah, we'll have our
too much sympathy.
We'll have our stat checker look that up for us.
But the whole thing is that so like it's a side scrolling beat 'em up from like the very old like early 90s, I think. And the whole twist about it was like you reach the end of the game, and then like if you're playing it 2-player, the whole thing is that like your final boss is like the other player. So you make it through the entire game together, and then you gotta beat each other up at the end.
Kudro, what year do you think? So Double Dragon, what year do you think the first release was?
I want to say like maybe 91.
1987.
Wow.
And our arcades in 1987, NES in 1988, Game Boy in 1990.
I was gonna say, so it's like an arcade, like side scroller, joystick 2-button type of game, right?
Yep.
Okay, that's what I was picturing.
Yep, exactly.
So I feel like I remember watching like the Double Dragon movie when I was a kid, and like I remember this movie being terrible. But so
I'm pretty sure I've not seen it. I'm gonna bet it's better than
I have low expectations.
Yeah.
I feel like low expectations is the way to go.
Right.
I feel
after my one Google search.
Anything above the D tier for these video game movies, I feel like is a win for them.
Yeah.
If the original Mortal Kombat is gonna be like one of the top rated video game movies.
I think so. I really think it's probably some of the best that have ever come out. Like
all because of the music.
I wonder, like Street Fighter, I think we'll probably do that one soon. I've seen that before, and I feel like that one might like hold up in like a bad way, like just how funny bad it is. It's because I think Kylie Minogue's in that movie. She's Cammy. And then like isn't Guile like Jean-Claude Van Damme or something?
Yeah, but if I remember that movie correctly, it was Bison who stole the show. I forget what his actor's name is.
Oh yeah.
Raul.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Fun fact about him, though, I think that was the last movie he did before he died.
Oh.
Actually, yeah, I think
Wow.
he filmed that. Bison filmed that entire movie while the actor had cancer.
Oh geez. That sucks.
All right.
Apparently, his kids wanted, like, his kids really wanted him in it, so he was like, he did it to his absolute best.
Oh. Huh.
Hmm.
Sad. So the Mario trailer.
Yeah.
Quinn, you got
What do you guys
something else?
think?
The Mario trailer?
Well, I was gonna say we can do Mario or we can do a Steam review of the week.
I gotta know what you guys think about the Mario trailer.
I thought it was awesome.
I thought the
And
graphics looked really good.
I don't care for any negative opinions about Chris Pratt's Mario voice because I don't think it was bad.
I mean, I guess what do you want him to do with
Well,
it?
people are like, "Oh, he doesn't, he doesn't have an Italian accent," when clearly he has a New York Italian accent at the end. Like you can kind of hear it. You can kind of like hear.
Yeah. I thought it was
Which,
fine.
yeah, it took me by surprise in the beginning, but I was like, "Oh, like what, what can he do?" I was more interested in how Jack Black was going to sound as Bowser.
Right.
I thought.
I thought it was pretty good. It does.
Yeah.
But
in terms of the trailer, I thought it was really cool. Like
yeah,
the way they opened it up.
Yeah,
that
does good. The animation's good.
Mm-hmm.
Bowser just unleashing a hellfire onto that doorway. It's
penguins.
definitely gonna be in the vein of like the Sonic, like trying to be really like cutesy and kid friendly to draw in that crowd, which makes sense. Like, why would they do it any other way? So I think that gives it a ceiling. But I enjoyed watching the Sonic movies. So I think and I'm more interested in the Mario kind of world than I am in the Sonic stuff. And with this being like animated all in Mario world as opposed to Sonic in the real world, I think makes for potentially a more interesting movie, but I don't know because you also need Nintendo to sign off on it. So
well, I think they are actively involved in this movie's development,
right?
Because the thing with Nintendo is like they are notoriously protective of their IPs.
Well, they got burned on the first time they did a Mario movie.
Well, not to mention like the old Zelda anime.
Oh yeah.
Well, by anime, I guess is the wrong word. Like that's more of a cartoon, but
Right.
what were there? I remember there being a couple Mario cartoons in like the
There were.
90s too.
Mm-hmm. I had a VHS of one of them.
Yeah, I don't see them really getting it wrong here. I've seen.
And they've already. I'm going to see that movie in theaters.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
so
many people are going to.
I'm gonna go see that. I gotta see it. I don't care.
I really hope it's good. I have such high hopes after that trailer.
You could tell me earlier reviews say it's absolutely atrocious, and I'll still go to the movie theater and see it. I wanted to see how good the animation looks, and it looks awesome, so I'm gonna go see it. That's pretty much it.
I think people are purely gonna see it for that, and to see how they incorporate the entire kind of Super Mario universe.
Yeah.
Right, and there's all these like not high, but big names attached to each of
Keegan-Michael Key's Toad.
Right.
Seth Rogen's Donkey. I liked Keegan-Michael Key's Toad voice.
Yeah, it was good.
Jack Black as Bowser, though, like based on that trailer alone, like he might be a show stealer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I felt bad for the Penguins.
Who's Luigi? I don't remember.
Not sure.
Look it up. Let's.
Each.
Charlie Day.
Oh right, Charlie Day. That's great.
Actually. Oh, that's gonna be awesome.
Oh man, I forgot about that.
Right.
Oh, great. Okay, so we all agree we're gonna go see it. I could care less what anyone says about it from here till it comes out. I'm gonna go see it at this point.
Colton seeing a movie in theaters, that's a shock.
Yeah, I want it. That new Knives Out movie is coming out in November. Have you seen Knives Out, the first one?
I watched it with you, if
Oh,
you
I
remember.
love that movie. But
I haven't seen it.
I would go see that one in theaters, but I'm pretty sure it's like in theaters and then immediately on Netflix after, based on what I read. So I'll probably just wait the week and watch it on Netflix if I'm being honest.
But Quinn, you should see Knives Out.
So good.
Knives Out is an
I want to
amazing
see
movie.
it. Yeah,
I put it. It's got to be in my top 20 movies of all time.
that's Daniel Craig, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
With
God, his character and that's awesome. I won't ruin any. I won't spoil any of it. But
minus
No,
the
I've always
ridiculous
wanted to watch
accent. I
it.
could have did without that.
I
But it
loved it.
didn't detract from the movie.
I felt like it played into his like, I don't know, smart dumb character, like dumb genius kind of act or whatever.
Just to backtrack real fast,
Yeah.
the original voice of Mario is supposed to have a cameo also.
Oh yeah,
which
Chris
was
Martinet.
really cool. Yeah.
Chris Martin. Yeah. Yeah. Imagine if it was that voice for the whole movie. Oh,
I'd be
my
down for it.
No, you wouldn't, dude. Are you kidding me?
I'd
It's
be
me!
here for it.
I don't even think it wouldn't be. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, to me, is like if you play a Mario game, you know, Mario talks in how many games?
Right.
And then
None.
you look at like Donkey Kong, Bowser, like all these other characters
Yeah, I
that
don't,
they don't say anything, but they just
Yeah.
have like a you
right. They
know,
make noises.
right.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's weird that Mario doesn't sound like Mario.
I feel like
Exactly like Mario, I should say.
that voice for a whole movie is like something people would say they want, but then like after they heard it for a whole movie, they'd be like, "Oh, this sucks."
Right.
But yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it would just make the ultimate meme movie.
Yeah,
That's true.
but they don't want that. They're pissed that Sonic's getting all this fucking,
Oh,
glory.
it's okay. You're boycotting it, so who cares about it anymore?
I'm about the Mario. Let's start a Mario movie countdown.
April 7th.
I think the only thing that offends me about is no one likes Tails apparently. Wow.
That's what people are saying. Everybody wants him out of the movie. We're starting a petition to get Tails out of the movie, and we want to replace him with Rouge the Bat.
All right, I'm gonna give you a totally unpopular opinion. Then Tails is still my favorite Sonic character.
Tails is your favorite Sonic character?
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, you must have been an annoying child.
I was and still am.
Yeah. Do we have a Steam review of the week?
Yeah, we can do that.
I'm up 4-2 in the all-time Steam reviews of the week. So
I feel like that last one was catered to you, though.
I guess I can add that to our thing here.
Well, the thing is, I don't know I don't know what's catered to who. So I'm just going off the top Steam games. So
maybe that's what I need. I just need to cheat and find a list of the top Steam games.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. I'm not going to give you the type of game here because I think that would give too much away. I think maybe
Sure.
not. I don't know. I'll just be safe.
Try it.
First review. They recommend the game with 5,700 hours.
5,700?
What?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Hat IRL equals $20. Hat in game equals $500. I like
Team Fortress 2. You can just hit this one, Kudrow, because I just got it.
I was about to say that. Like as soon as you said that, that's actually like a fantastic guess.
Gotta be quicker than that, Kudrow. There is other games with hats. I don't know if I should tell you what they are though.
Yeah, hats.
Yeah, it's a Steam item. You can get the hats in the Steam. Like you can buy the hats. It's like a Steam item. Then you can have the hat in game.
Well, I mean, let's see here. Are the Halo games on Steam? I mean, you can buy like helmets and stuff on there. Wait, no, hold on. You can get. Is it Rocket League?
Ooh,
You can
that's a
get
good,
hats in Rocket League.
a good guess. I mean, you can't sell them like that. I don't think you can sell most of them like that. Maybe you can. Is there a black market of
You can
Rocket
trade
Maybe
League
for like
credits?
season exclusive items.
Well, so if the hat's worth a certain amount of credits, then you can equate that to
Ooh.
a certain amount of
There you
money.
go, Kudra. You could take the Rocket League guess. Wouldn't be a terrible guess. Might be right.
I mean, that's what I'm going with. That's all I've got.
Okay. Yeah, it was Team Fortress 2.
All right, put another one on the board.
I don't know. I need to figure out a better
It's okay.
way of figuring these out.
I'm just better at this, Kudra. It's okay.
The problem is like all the popular games are like all these multiplayer like team squad games, and I don't have any interest or pay attention to them.
Fair enough. I'll dig deeper next week.
Am I on a 3 streak of this, Kudra? That's a wow. Big ups me.
Let me read the next two.
Okay,
I would have given it away, but if you bind forward to a button on your mouse, you can play Pyro and eat at the same time.
Is that this is a positive review?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're all positive.
Okay,
but I've never thought about that. That's actually
like eating and playing at the same time.
Yeah. Well, no, Pyro is so simple to play. You just if you can just run forward, hold your left click down, get some kills, and just turn your mouse.
There you go.
Easy.
Yeah.
The last one, a Scottish black man killing a Russian with a high explosive grenade launcher and then dancing like there's no tomorrow.
There you go.
So I enjoy the Team Fortress 2 memes as well. Some good memes coming out of that game. But I used to play that a lot, actually.
Oh yeah, I've played it like once.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun until you get pissed off. Because I was never good at the game, but I'd play it.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's all I got.
All right. Should we do our ranking of Cage?
Oh my god.
Always forget the episode number. Hold on. Don't worry. I'm going to get the episode number for you.
What a movie. What a movie. Gave us one of the most popular memes, I'd say, that I've ever seen on the internet.
All right. It's episode 10. Let's get our stuff ready here. All right. You guys ready?
Sure.
All right. All right, this is Ranking of Cage, episode 10, Vampire's Kiss. Vampire's Kiss was released in 1988. It's set in 1980s New York City. We have Peter Lowe, played by Nicolas Cage. We have Alva, who is his employee / kind of assistant where he works. And she's played by Maria Conchita Alonso. We have Rachel, who is a vampire, played by Jennifer Beals. We have Peter Lowe's therapist, Dr. Glazer, played by Elizabeth Ashley, and a woman that Peter Lowe is seeing, Jackie, played by Cassie Lemons. Peter Lowe is a horrible manager and not friendly to most people that he runs into. The movie kind of goes between Peter going out in New York, Peter at his job, and Peter seeing his therapist. And then later in the movie, we'll get to that. So initially we follow Peter as he's going out in New York City with Jackie, a woman he's been seeing. When they get back to his apartment, they're making out and taking clothes off, and a bat flies into the window. They run out and leave the apartment. They freak out because the bat's there. They run out and leave. And then Peter seems to feel really weird about the bat experience and actually goes on to discuss it with his therapist and says, "Oh, I was aroused by the bat." It was weird. And so on another night, Peter meets a girl named Rachel at a bar. And then after they're talking, we see them back at his apartment where it's revealed that Rachel is a vampire right before she bites Peter. So after this, we kind of go through scenes as Peter is transforming into a vampire. He still goes on being terrible to his employees, especially Alva, who's like his assistant, and he's berating her constantly. And there's this document he needs to find for a client that he's become completely obsessed with, and he basically goes after Alva every day about this. And then we have scenes with Rachel the vampire who visits him and bites him again, which I don't know if that's part of the vampire transition process. I don't know what's going on there. We have scenes of Peter talking to his therapist, becoming more and more kind of awkward and like something's going on with him. And then after further into this, we have Peter like parading around the city telling everyone he's a vampire. He buys some plastic like vampire teeth. And then eventually this culminates. He goes to a club, finds a woman by herself, and then he murders her by drinking her blood. He also runs into Rachel here and tells everybody she's a vampire. Um, Following this, one day Alva takes a sick day. So Peter goes and looks up her information and address in the office Rolodex. Um, Rolodex, for those who don't know, is like a way people used to keep addresses. So it's just like a bunch of tabs on a thing you can spin through before you had a computer to store all that information, really. So Peter goes to her house and picks her up, and he tries to like apologize and say, I understand. I'm sorry the way I yelled at you. And he goes through a constant changing of emotions through this like work day. He picks up Alva and takes her to work, and he goes from being like understanding and apologetic to then threatening her like a minute later. And this culminates in the end of the day where Alva finds the document, and then she brings it to Peter. It's late at night, and Peter claims it's too late. Then Peter proceeds to chase her around the office building. It's late at night, and then he bites her, and it's said after that he raped her. It doesn't show it, but that's what he says he did after. Then after this, Peter's walking around the city in a daze. He's covered in blood and talking to himself. He finds a wood pallet and rips a piece off and makes a wood stake. And he's talking to people and asking them if they'll help kill him by putting the stake through his heart because he's a vampire. Meanwhile, Alva tells her brother about Peter and what he did. So they're camping outside of Peter's residence, like waiting for him. So he shows up back home, and then Alva's brother follows him into his place. And then when he gets inside, basically Alva's brother's going to try and like fight him, and he like basically holds the stake and tries to stab himself, and then Alva's brother helps stab him, and then he gets stabbed through the heart with a wood stake, and he's a vampire, so that kills him. And that's the end of the movie. He dies.
I think the idea for the movie was
right.
good. Like to me, it was the classic, antisocial, schizophrenic deterioration movie, right? Like to me, it was pretty clear that he had schizophrenia or some sort of, I don't know, mental illness.
Right. It's confusing. I was confused as to what they were saying was real.
Well, the biggest thing that stood out to me was after she bit him the first time, I think he kind of made it up in his brain that she had the fangs and like that she was a vampire based off his experience with the bat. Like she had somehow transformed from a bat into a person.
Right.
And then like she was, I don't know, interested in him, and he was interested in her because he got aroused from the bat, let's say. But then like in the morning he made coffee and like brought it to the bed, and you see there's no one there.
Right.
And he's like shaking and all of that. So to me from there I was like, oh, he has schizophrenia and she's not real.
Right.
Like,
so she was never
right
real.
away.
Yeah.
Right away I was like, okay, I feel like they could have done that a little better, like leave some mystery and like kind of build up to that point. But for me it was pretty clear. And then you can kind of see it the way he acts. Like you said, he's sometimes like happy and then he just gets pissed off.
Right. Yeah. They're like showing his like
It was just to me it was just classic mental illness, antisocial stuff that was going on, hallucinations, everything you can think of.
Right.
Mental deterioration essentially.
Mhm.
And I mean, Nicolas Cage, he played, he did it well, I thought.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like he did it well, but it didn't work for me. Like the idea of the movie, I think it was good in concept. This guy
Mhm.
goes crazy thinking he's a vampire because one night he hooked up and this girl so happened to bite his neck while they were making love.
Right, and that's the part where I was so the line of reality, I guess, right? So she's not a vampire, but she does exist, and she did bite him. So
Yeah, that's
she
what I gathered is
okay.
they were making love. She bit his neck as like a sign of passion or something like
Mhm.
that. And he, because of his prior experience where the bat flew in through his window, he like his brain like made that connection like, oh, she's a vampire.
Mhm.
And then from that point on, she would show up as a hallucination as like
Mhm.
his mistress or whatever, which
Right.
was causing him his like relationship issues.
Right.
And then Alva just so happened to be in the crossfire of his mental deterioration where
Mhm.
I think the contract to me was like his sanity was like
Mhm.
he was trying to like grab back into reality, was like
Mhm.
this contract is what's keeping him kind of connected, and then ultimately that kind of fell through as well.
I
So
gotcha.
that's kind of how I read it. I thought it went a little too long,
Yeah.
and it was pretty clear to me what was going to happen in the
Right,
end.
that is yeah.
So, but yeah,
Um, yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting. It was different, I guess. Like it didn't feel like other movies I'd watched. Like had originality to it. Um, I think like I don't know, I got like the vibes of like he treated all the women he interacted with terribly and like but then this vampire woman was kind of treating him like shit. Like it was like a play on that, but then she's not real. So or she is, but his hallucinations of her. So it's like a um I, I I don't know if there's something there or not, but it was. I mean, Nicholas, the KG and freakouts were abundant here. I the scene where he's walking around the city in the daytime and like, oh my gosh, I was laughing at that, and I did find it like just wild, just like absolutely wild. Like he's like a vampire and he's like, oh, I got to get this wood stake through my heart because I'm a vampire and that's how you kill a vampire. And then when he sleeps under the couch, he has a couch flipped over so it opens up like a coffin. um
Hmm.
Innovative.
or when he ate the cockroach, or when he ate a wild
Yeah,
pigeon, I was like, oh my
yeah,
god.
yeah, yeah.
But it was again the idea. Like I feel like it could have been a good idea, and I think
Right.
as an investor, I've been like, oh yeah, like that's like a cool idea. And then I see the final product, and I'm like, what the fuck did I just pay for?
I, yeah, it yeah, it was almost confusing at times trying to, because like there's scenes where he does talk to his therapist and then it's like, oh, but this time he's hallucinating it. And it's like maybe it's the thing where you watch the movie twice and a lot of it becomes more clear when you're watching it a second time through. Um, but
Yeah, maybe.
yeah, where he's running around screaming as a vampire and then he gets
Mm.
on the call, his demeanor during those scenes I thought was acted very well. Um
Yeah,
uh
his vampire face when he was walking through the club, where he's like,
right. Yeah. Yeah. Like
I
this
was like,
is
how are people not like moving away from him?
right. Um did you guys notice like the ominous music cues, like more towards the beginning of the movie, like where it would just start this heavy level of ominous music, like just for like I felt like it went on for like a minute before anything happened. Um, Maybe they could have mixed that ominous music in a little lower.
Yeah, I think they were trying to kind of do some deeper, I don't know, like music
Mhm.
and cinematography where they're trying to link the bat with his mental illness. Maybe I don't know. I think that would help if you watched it a second time. Was maybe you could pick up on some of these foreshadowing and
Right.
other I don't know cinema devices. I guess,
Yeah, and I
but
don't right, and I don't know if it's stuff I was missing or if it was just like not crafted together in a way to explain itself. Um,
right. I think it was trying to be a very deep and
mhm,
I don't know complex movie,
right.
but it didn't get the job done in my opinion. Um, but yeah, what do you
Yeah.
think, Kudrow? Got any thoughts?
This movie's insane. Uh, I mean the scene. I feel like bouncing off of that. Like, God, I don't know. I know this movie is like listed as a horror comedy. Like, I don't really feel like this movie did that well at either, to be honest. There were a couple scenes that got a good laugh out of me, but interestingly enough, it wasn't the overacting that did it. Like Nicolas Cage is just chewing the scenery throughout this entire film. But the only one that did was like in the therapist office where Nicolas Cage is like screaming about the contract and how someone could have misfiled it,
Yeah.
and then just starts like exclaiming the punctuating for emphasis, like going through the alphabet.
Oh, yeah, the where he does still alphabet. Yeah, that was good. I
Yeah,
like
but that it wasn't even him doing that. It was the therapist immediately, just in his deadpan way of speech, is like, "Very, very good. You know your alphabet."
yeah. Yeah,
that,
I
that
was
got a
like
good chuckle.
I was entertained by the ride of like the absurdity.
Yeah,
I did like that
yeah,
for the most part.
yeah. But I did a little bit of like looking into online,
Mhm.
but there's only one theory about this movie that makes any sense to me. Uh, apparently, the bat in the beginning of film.
Is her, right?
Well,
Not her.
I mean,
Oh,
if you take
rabies.
rabies exactly. If Nicolas Cage got bit by a vampire, got bit by the bat, and has rabies, the list of symptoms of which can include things like aggressive behavior and hallucinations, that is the only way this movie makes any level of sense to me.
Yeah, that does make sense. I never thought about that. One thing that was going through my brain though, when I was like, this random woman was just showing up in his home, I was like, he never locks his door. He never once in the movie locks his door or unlocks his door. They come up to his apartment, they just walk in. He leaves his apartment, they don't show him locking the door. I'm assuming that's done on purpose, but it was
Yeah.
still something that was kind of going through my brain is like, oh, this is,
Mhm.
this is how this crazy woman is making in his way or her way
Right.
into this house.
hmm
And it's like the movie's called Vampire's Kiss. So then is it weird if there's no actual vampires in the movie?
Well,
Um,
there's an imaginary one.
right.
Nicolas Cage is a vampire.
So, but okay, the rabies thing, but wouldn't he? So he was only aggressive towards certain people, though. Like he was yelling at the people in the street, but he wasn't like physically doing anything to them. So the only thing with that
Well,
is
I mean, there was like the one scene though where he entered before he entered the club, where he ended up biting and killing that woman. Like he
right.
just immediately pushed through the crowd in front of the club and then
Sure,
punched out the oh
but
god, what's the phrase for him?
isn't
Security
rabies a,
guard, bouncer.
Yeah, the
isn't
bouncer. Yeah.
right?
So
But isn't rabies like a progressive thing? Like where once he was doing that, he wouldn't go back to then just acting kind of normal and uh,
I
like
I am not going to pretend to be an expert on rabies.
no,
I
I
don't
get
know.
it. I get it. But that's my only thing with that is it's like because then he still goes back into like his emotional, like rapid changes, and he's nice to Alva, then he threatens her, and like he's almost like more calculated than a rabid animal.
Well, I mean, even if you have rabies, like I mean, I feel like it's not gonna like shut down your cortex all at once. And at that point in time, it was clearly like you can tell, like the later scenes, like that kindness he was showing Alpha was not genuine. That
Right.
was he was literally just manipulating and baiting her to take her back to the office where he could continue to torment her. That's all it was.
I guess I don't know enough about rabies either, so I really don't know though. Like I agree. It's like it makes sense what Quinn's saying, that the girl is real, but she's not a vampire, and he's like just got some kind of mental issues going on that create all of this kind of
Yeah. Well, I feel like because they introduce him at the
right.
psychiatrist like pretty early in the movie
Hmm.
to introduce him, he does have some sort of mental
Mhm.
issues. I mean, I know he talks about depression as I think what he's, the reason for him going to therapy, but I don't know, it doesn't surprise me that that could be the issue, I guess. That's where my mind immediately kind of jumps to.
Yeah, I like think this movie maybe is worth seeing, but it's like it's different, it's wild, it's out there. I think a lot of just the scenes that happen in Cage's freakouts are entertaining to watch. I did chuckle when I saw the couch thing that he sleeps under because it opens like a coffin. That was
They even had a
um,
creaking noise when it would go up
yeah,
and down.
yeah, and the plastic vampire teeth and him just like frolicking around, and it was kind of funny.
I laughed when he was chasing the pigeon, trying to grab a pigeon. I was like, oh my God.
I feel like Josh would appreciate this one.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad he's not here, actually. I don't know. To me, this movie is like you watch it for the memes. This
Yeah.
is a watch it for the memes in purest form.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, any other things to say about this one? Um,
No,
yeah. So,
we can rank
what
it.
yeah, let's rank it. What do you guys think?
I have no idea.
It's I got to give it points for its originality, and then I got to dock points for I don't just me being kind of confused, and maybe that's my fault.
Well, I feel like being confused is kind of
Part of
is
it.
part of the point.
Yeah.
So
I, I want to say it's a B movie that doesn't execute, so it's a C. I think it's a C because I think it's the looking at like the D category of Nicolas Cage movies. I think it's above that, but I don't think it's a B. I really think it sits nicely in a C for me. So I'll go. Is it a C plus or just a C? Vampire's Kiss. Oh god, some of the scenes are so funny though, where he does the alphabet. Oh, if you showed me that again right now, I'd laugh. His just the way he says it. Like I don't even like his accent in the movie, but his freak out scenes are just they're great. Um, I gotta go C plus. I'm going C plus. This movie's wild. C plus for the alphabet rendition. Kudrow, what do you think?
oh God, I don't know.
Quinn, you got any idea?
Yeah. I was going to go with E, but then I was looking at my other E's. I do think it's better than Birdie, so I'm going to go with a D. I don't think it's better than Boy in Blue.
Oh,
So
this
a
movie.
D for me.
I feel like most movies are better than Boy in Blue.
No,
Personally,
Boy in Blue is a classic.
it's
Classic.
hey, you know what? What sucks back then still sucks now.
Name
So
a better rowing movie.
Name another rowing movie.
That's a good counterpoint.
Well, in what was the social network? There's a little bit of rowing in the beginning.
Oh jeez.
Oh god.
Where are you between? What's your
I feel like I'm kind of all over the place. Like this movie's not bad. I mean, the memes and the overact. This is the most overacted movie I have ever watched in my life.
Yeah.
I can't say I was ever bored watching this movie, but I feel like this movie's listed as a horror comedy, and I don't really feel like it was that funny, and I don't really feel like it was that scary.
No.
So
I mean,
okay. C or D plus. C or D plus. Where am I at there? I'm gonna say it's a D plus, I think.
a D plus. All right. Well, let's pull up our overall list here. All right. All right. So based on our ratings, it looks like we're somewhere up in here. So I'll start off the bidding. I'll say bottom of the C tier. What do you guys think?
I disagree, but
Okay. Kudrow?
I think, yeah.
Wait, hold on. I thought Peggy Sue got married at a D plus. This movie's better than Peggy Sue got. No, it's a C. It's
a C. All right, Kudrow, does it go in the bottom of the C tier or are we down in the D tier? Quinn and
I think now it has to go in the bottom of the C tier.
Yep, I think so.
Okay, how do we think it compares to? Do we think it goes Racing with the Moon, Leaving Las Vegas, bottom of the C tier?
Well, I think Leaving Las Vegas was ass. So,
so I like this more than Leaving Las Vegas. Kudrow, what do you think?
I mean, I put Leaving Las Vegas at a B. So,
okay, so you like Leaving Las? Okay, so it will set it below Leaving Las Vegas. Or wait, you guys got conflict. Okay, what about Racing with the Moon? Do we think
I still think Leaving Las Vegas was a much more interesting character study.
All right, I'll take your word for it.
But
I'll take your word for it, and I'll agree it should go behind Leaving Las Vegas.
Racing with the Moon. I barely remember what Racing with the Moon was even about now. That movie was so forgettable.
Wow. Wow. All right, Quinn, what do you think about Racing with the Moon versus Vampire's Kiss?
I thought Racing with the Moon was better.
All right, then.
Than Vampire's Kiss.
Bottom of the seats here.
Yeah, I think that's a solid placement.
All right. Vampire's Kiss sits in the C tier. Dun, dun, dun.
All right. And what do we have next?
For ranking of Cage next, we have Time to Kill. There's some words on the cover here. I'll read them. An innocent man just went over the edge of reason. So, teaser
Sounds
for
intense.
next week. It's got a big picture of Nicolas Cage's face on the cover.
Wonder how bad that one's gonna suck.
Wow. Jeez.
Can you blame us?
Yeah, what do you mean? Guys, Raising Arizona was a quality movie.
I mean, I'll agree with that, but I feel like it's the only one we've got to cling to at this point.
I thought you liked Leaving Las Vegas.
Well, if you recall, my exact words were, "I didn't enjoy this movie, but I thought it was good."
Okay, well, there you go.
He's also said that you would never watch it again. That one time would be
good.
good.
That's all you had to do was watch it the one time. Yeah, so next week we got Time to Kill and Double Dragon. And I just full screened the wrong screen. Yeah, you guys got anything else this week? Any other, hot little tidbits? Well, all right. Well,
when are we ending Deep Rock Galactic? When's that?
Ooh, good question. I feel like we need at least 2 more weeks with it. What do you think?
Yeah.
I might need 3 weeks. I don't know. Well, I guess it depends on. We can, tentatively 3 weeks out. I don't know. How much more do you want to play it? I like the game. I could play some more, but
I like the game as well.
so at least 2 more weeks of Deep Rock Galactic.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So next Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific. You can find the audio version of the shows on podcast platforms. I was about to be caught up on those, and then my Windows reinstallation issues set me back a little bit. But I got the process down, so a lot of those should be going up soon. If you like the show, follow us on Twitch and YouTube. Subscribe on your podcast platform of choice, and we will see you next week.
See you guys.